Everybody's asking, why are my tax dollars and your tax dollars going towards buying up condos and bailing out developers in BC? If you're not Canadian or you just haven't heard the news and live under a rock, Mark Carney, the federal government, and the BC provincial government announced that they're going to be spending about $1.4 billion in order to buy up 2,200 unsold and vacant condos in the BC area. Why don't we make like a draw or something? Like if there's going to be 2,200 units bought, tax money spent, maybe like a couple of those units get tossed out to one of us taxpayers. That'd be kind of cool, right? I really think they should have waited to announce this when they had more details. I don't know what the rush was for, but there's a lot of confusion right now still. Right now, the plan is the federal government will potentially, we don't have a firm number, put up to 10% of the 1.4 billion. And again, this is where it's more confusing because the federal government said that BC would be doing the rest. But then I saw something recently where David Eby, the premier of BC, mentioned that no, they're probably only going to match it and put up another 10% and then loan the rest. The plan is to take those 2,200 units, make them into affordable housing, and largely do it through rent-to-own programs, which again, we don't have the details for yet. They also mentioned an additional $3 billion fund. This kind of didn't make the news as much, but it's a $3 billion fund, which is split equally between Ottawa and BC. Ultimately, what they say is that they're hoping to reduce the cost by $40,000 per unit by bringing these development charges down. I don't live in Vancouver, I don't live in BC, but I can tell you, knowing what I know about those areas, $40,000 is not going to make a huge dent in affordability. Here's the thing. I don't want to use the word greedy for developers or the builders who built it. I don't want to use that word. I think that they saw an opportunity, and a lot of them were making a lot of money building these apartments, townhouses, all these projects. But ultimately what happens is very, very natural. The market turns, and this is a little bit of the greater fool theory coming into effect, if you want to say that. And somebody's always left with the shit end of the stick. And the developers right now who started their projects in 2022 or 2023, because apartments take so long to build, they unfortunately are now coming online at a time when the market's turned. And you can see over here, right now, 6,149 unsold. I've heard a lot of people complain about this too, that, hey, look, developers and the builders are not lowering the prices. They're being stubborn. It's just sitting there and nothing is happening. I don't really buy this argument because ultimately, developers would have to lower the prices eventually, unless they wanted to just sit forever or wait for the market to turn. Here's what would have had to happen. Developers would have probably had to lower the prices over time. Builders, lower price, lower price, lower price to compete and eventually attract buyers. Or the other option would be that they would rent out the units. If you rent out the units, you'd be dealing with a lot of rental competition. And right now, we have a lot of rental competition across Canada. So if they have to compete with rental competition, if they put on rent, then they'd have to put it for lower rent too, potentially, which could be nice for people who want to rent a property. And if they don't want to do that, if they don't want to rent, they don't want to drop prices, well, then their only option is to wait for the market to turn while paying the holding costs and probably have some angry investors wondering what the hell is going on, or eventually not be able to pay their holding costs and go down under and go into receivership or something, or file for bankruptcy. That being said, even though I do tend to lean more along the lines of, hey, let the market play out, one of the problems that can cause is that for at least the next little while, they will be hesitant to build more housing. And if they're more hesitant to build more, the problem that can cause is that as the market starts turning back and demand starts going higher, if we haven't been building a lot of houses, and that's been lagging now for years because of this amongst other issues, then you run into another issue that we run into the past: high demand, not enough supply, prices start going back up. So there's really no clean answer in any of this. We don't know how much the federal government and BC will be buying these condos for. We don't know that. I'm hoping to find that out soon. I hope they release the details because I'm very, very curious how they want to structure the affordable housing. They've been throwing around rent to own, rent to own, rent to own. The rent to own angle is interesting depending on how things play out. There was a federally backed project. I believe it was called Port Moody or in Port Moody. I don't know. I read about this some time ago. And essentially what they did with the rent to own program is that they took a $10,000 down payment, and then with every month when you were paying rent, it was building up equity, rental equity, which was eventually used, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years later as part of your down payment. So you didn't pay it all at once. You paid $10K up front. And it's interesting because obviously a lot of younger people in Vancouver are already renting. They can't afford to buy a home. They can't afford to save up for a down payment. So if they're able to put a smaller amount of money down and then eventually use rent to own to eventually buy these properties, it can increase the amount of home ownership. One of the other defenses that the federal government is saying is that, hey, look, this, if we buy right now, we can offer instantly as affordable housing. We buy it up as discount in bulk. We have lower interest rates. We can offer it as rent to own or whatever we want to do, but it's instantly available. Whereas if we, the government, have to build affordable housing from scratch, that obviously takes time. You have to start the construction and then offer it. And just to be clear, that's 100% true. The government having to build housing is going to take much, much longer than just buying something and then offering it up. Now, just to be clear, there's nothing new being built here. You're just buying something from one entity, the developer and builders, taking it as the government, and then offering it back to, citizens or whoever it is, buyers, renters, whatever it is, with fancy or crafty terms and financing options. I think for whatever positives you can get from this, there's a lot of negatives and bad optics ultimately. I already talked about how now you're going to have less pressure and competition for sellers of these condos, builders, or whoever it is, to reduce their price because there's less competition. 2,200 units are just going to come off from the market. If me or you as a buyer, we're buying these pre-construction condos, we've heard a lot about this, buy, and then we are not able to close on it for whatever reason, our bank doesn't want to lend anymore because the values have dropped, we have to back out of the deal, lose our big deposit, and then the developer can sue us as well afterward. There is no bailout for us typically. Additionally, I don't think that even if some of them did end up collapsing or going under or bankrupt, that's not going to collapse the entire Vancouver or BC real estate market. It would have an effect. It would have an effect on the construction industry as well and the economy, but it wouldn't collapse things. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more content similar to this. I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your month and week. Take care. Bye.